In this module, you will learn how to print your worksheet. We'll go over the various printer settings, such as how to repeat rows and columns on each page. We'll also go over how to set your print area to print specific pieces of your worksheet. Before we actually get into printing your worksheet, let's discuss a couple of these items. First, let's go over setting your print area. If you're only printing a section or sections of your worksheet, you need to select the area you wish to print. Now, there are two ways that you can set the print area. The first way is to come out, click the area that you want to print. So for instance, if we want to print from here over to here, once we have it selected, we'll click on the print area, set print area, and now our print area is selected. If we have another area we wish to print in addition to that, we use the Control key to select another area. So we're going to press the Control key, we'll come down and we'll pick our marketing. Once we release it, select set print area, and we have them both selected. Now if we want to look at it after we've selected multiple areas, we can go to the View tab, click Page Break Preview, and it'll show us the sections that we have selected to print. So that is the first way that you can set your print area. We're going to go ahead and set our print area using another option, but before we do that, let's go back to our normal view. So we're back to our worksheet. We're going to come over to the page layout. Let's go ahead and clear what we set. So once you've printed the areas you need, you can come back in and clear them out when you're done. We're going to click Print Area again. This is all done on our page layout, and we're going to say Clear Print Area. Once we do that, it clears our print area, so we're back to a clean slate for printing. Now we'll go ahead and use our second option. That option is done through the Page Setup dialog box. Click on our little down arrow here to bring up the Page Setup dialog box. We'll come over to our Sheet tab. Now here we've got Print Area option. We'll click on the box. Once it opens up, it's going to give us a blank area. Now if we wanted to, we could say A1:D4 or set the print area manually that way. The other way is to come out and highlight the entire area that you want to print. Now you'll notice when you're doing this, up in the box, it's setting it for you. Once you've set your print area, click the X. It takes you back into the Page Setup dialog box. From here, if we want to preview what we're printing, click the Print Preview and it'll take us over and we can see exactly what we've selected. We can also come back over to the View, Page Break View, and it'll show us our two pages as well. Let's go back to our normal view, come back out to our page layout. So those are the two ways that you can set your print area to print your document. Now that you know how to set and clear your print area, let's move to the headings. When you're printing a spreadsheet, if it's going to break across multiple pages, you may want to set the headings to print on those multiple pages. That's called repeating rows or repeating columns if the column information is going to break as well. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and go in and we'll set up repeating rows and repeating columns. This is also done through the Page Layout tab. Now in order to set the repeating rows or repeating columns, we're going to come over to the Page Setup group and go to Print Titles. Once we do this, it's going to take us into our Page Setup dialog box to our Sheets area. From here we've got a Print Titles area, rows to repeat at top, columns to repeat at left. Now if we only need to have rows repeat across the top, we just put that information in. If we also need the columns to repeat, we can put that in as well. And it's done the same way we did our option to set our print area. We'll click on the box, highlight the rows that we want to print across the top. Once we have it set, click the X. It sets it for us. Now we're going to go ahead and do our columns as well. So we're going to click on the box for the columns. We just want column B to print down the side, so we'll select column B. Click again, come out and take a look at our print preview. And you can see that we've got our titles going across the top and our columns as we move from page to page. Okay? So that is how you set your repeating rows and your repeating columns. Now we are ready to print. Printing is done through the Backstage in Excel. You click the File tab, click Print, and it takes us into our print area. You can also use the shortcut Alt-F-P, Alt File Print. From here, we have multiple items that we can choose from. We can select the number of copies we want to print, pick the printer we want to print to, and then we can come down and click our settings. Now the settings gives us multiple options as well. From here, our first option is what do we want to print? Print the active sheets, print the entire workbook, or only print the selection. So if we've highlighted an area and set a print area, we can tell it to print that selection. We can tell it to ignore the print area. We can also choose what pages we wish it to print. Do we only want page 1? We want page 2? We want page 1 through 4. If there's multiple pages of the document, we can set that as well. We can tell it if we wanted to print one-sided, print on both sides, and how to flip it if we're printing on both sides. Duplex printing is only available if your printer has that capability. We can also collate it. So if we've got a document that's 20 pages, we can tell it to do it page 1, page 2, page 3, or we can tell it to uncollate it and put all like pages together. We can change our orientation. Now notice over here on the right, our preview is changing as we're making changes here. So as we do landscaped, we can see it. Once we switch it to portrait, it changes our print preview to portrait. We can also change the type of paper we want to use. Do we want legal, letter? We select that from here as well, and it'll also change our print preview for us. We can change the margins from here if we want to. Come out and make our custom margins. Say OK, and again, the preview will change as we're doing that. We can also scale the spreadsheet. So if we want to shrink it so everything prints on one page, we can do that, or make it so all the columns at least print on one page, we can do that as well. Shrink to one page. You can see you have to be careful when you're using the scaling that it will become very small if you try to shrink too much onto one page. We can try to help this a little bit by coming over and choosing legal paper and then also changing it and making it landscape. And you can see that makes it a little bit easier and a little easier to read. So those are the settings that are available when you're printing. We can go ahead and print our document once we're done. Also, any changes that you made here will stay with the document as long as you save the document again. So let's go ahead and print, and we are done.